So tell us a little bit about so currently you have programming futsal as well as regular ball for primarily inner city kids.
Yeah. So the story with that is, I got into learning about futsal when I was coaching. I was coaching the youth. I think maybe some Zone One kids, so like maybe U10 or U12 at the local club, and coaching my son and some other kids that I brought up from rec. And at the time, our DOC, he was a somewhat of a visionary. I always give him his credit on that. Because he early on, we had a couple of Brazilian guys in my town who they brought the game to our area a while back, and he was like, for our winter training, because in Minnesota you got to realize winter training is 7 months out of the year. Yeah, yeah. So it's about 60. Man, it's about 6 degrees right now, is what they tell me. I'm not there at the moment, but I know what it is. So they were visionaries, and they said, listen, let's get these Brazilian guys out after the season, and we're gonna do futsal once a week, and they're just introducing the kids to different surfaces, and a tighter space and more touches on the ball, all the things you always hear. So that's kind of how I got introduced. And my son, he was young, and the other kids I coached were young, and they were having fun because they were so used to playing in environments where they were younger and having to battle so much with bigger kids, and that whole relative age effect thing is a real thing. Mm-hmm. That's why, and I'm seeing it now. All the kids who they thought were great, it's because they were bigger, faster. But technically, these kids were good on the ball, and they 1v1 players, saucy, doing different things. So I was like, this futsal, and it's fast, it's 5-on-5, you touch the ball quite a bit. So that's kind of how I got in that. So I said, listen, a buddy of mine, we said his son played. I said, let's just, there wasn't a club around. So we said that we knew about. So we said, let's or accessible to us at the time. So we said, let's start one. So we just got some kids together and we put them in a league. And clearly they were some of the better kids. So, they started running it up on teams. And then, at that point, we just do kind of, the idea was, let's just offer this to other kids. And we were kind of running like a traditional club. It was pay to play. I call it pay to play, but our fees were never crazy because, it's futsal, and that's not really why we were in it, to make money per se. We just had to cover the indoor costs and things like that. So we got into it like that. And then from there, I kept studying the game and really the origins of the game, how it started at the Y in Uruguay, and why it started. It's combination of handball and water polo and basketball, mix all these, and just seeing, and then when you think about Brazil and the greats, I mean, I had the pleasure of going to the World Cup with my wife and I in 2014, and I went over there for my own self and got to look around and see it's a game. That game means so much to those people over there. I mean, every court you see, it may have a basketball hoop, and it's got a futsal little small goal under. So, and just then the players that we name, the greats, they all played. And I found out that over there in South America, you start out, futsal is just as popular as football. Mm-hmm. And at some point when you're like 13 or so, then you have to make a choice. I'm going to be a futsaler or I'm going to be a footballer, mm-hmm. So just learning about the game. So I did that. And then I brought it back to my situation. Now, looking at my community and saying, we got a lot of athletic kids here that don't even know about soccer at all. I say, so can I introduce soccer in an environment where there aren't a whole bunch of lush green fields and permits? Can we just get on this court here that may have cracks in it with grass growing through it, and just put the goals out and play? So I felt like it can do a lot of things. I think after soccer starts at home, this is my theory. Soccer starts at home and then futsal. That's what I say, because or small-sided street soccer, whatever, because, we're missing that street soccer element in this country, and y'all know the reasons why. And some of it's just, I think, generational, and some of it's just culture. It ain't the culture. People won't even let their kid go 2 blocks from the house nowadays anyway, most people. So I said, can we get kids to develop a better technical base? Also, tactically, if you see a lot of the teams, play. Even Man Cities and a lot of these teams, a lot of the things they're doing now with rotations and stuff, that's futsal stuff. So you can learn a lot about the big game from the small game. The movement in futsal is crazy, and then you're under pressure constantly. So and all the players that I train, they grew up with futsal. So now I think it's helped them in their game as 11v11 game. So that's that. And then also just from the like I said, the accessibility, that's a whole nother piece that's more on the dealing with socioeconomic things. And so we made our programming free. We brought it to the inner city. And then we felt like, what can we do with this game? We have a big league that we do in the summer. First year, very successful. We got some corporations to sponsor because in America, it's too many kids that can't play soccer, which it shouldn't be an expensive sport because it's not like hockey where it's a 300 and you need skates and you need 100,000 pads. It's a ball and some shoes. And you don't even need shoes sometimes, right? So I said, what can we do game to make the communities better and make it accessible? So we, our 4 core principles at TC Soul are fun, community, accessibility, and development. And that's development as a person and also as a player. So we have to keep accessibility as a thing. That's why, culturally, basketball is such a big game in the community. You can go to the park and play. So we're trying to kind of recreate that vibe. And I know U.S. Soccer is doing a lot now with the mini pitches and all that kind of stuff. So, and they're doing that, and they're doing it in D.C., they're doing it in my city and all this, but we also wanted to have the programming. So we had that going, and we it's been a tough time in our cities all across the country. I'm from, the city, my old neighborhood is where George Floyd, where that happened. So we wanted to give back to the community, and we really want to go against the pay to play because, I almost didn't play soccer. I had a whole bunch of scholarships and some people that were willing to look out because it's not reasonable for a lot of families. And it pains me, bro. It pains me, y'all, that a kid can't be on this, how we just talking the game right now. This is beautiful. A kid will miss out on that because their mom or their dad or their parents don't have the money. That really bothers me. So I want to make this game accessible so these kids can talk how we're talking. And also, it's good for kids need to be more active. It's keeping kids out of stuff that they shouldn't be into. So we dropped the pay to play. We got corporations and small businesses and in-kind donations, and we made it into a league where we call it serve to play. So we had kids from all over the state. We had pay to play kids from the richest suburbs to the kids in the inner city from different communities, meeting each other, playing. So they served communities 1 hour. They played their game. It was a league, 6-week league. Played a game 1 hour, and then we also were able to link up with a company, food distribution, who donated box lunches for us. So we gave out 60 to 70 free meals each week, and we had the police department involved. We let them be kind of guest coaches. So we're really trying to build on that this summer with it's called Soul of the City, and it's playwithsoul.com if you want to check it out and just kind of see what we're doing. But it means a lot to us just because we're using the game we love the game so much, but we really love humanity even a little bit more. We think our game, is a game, the only game I feel, and I'm biased, but it's the only game that can bring people from really together from all over the world that I've seen, like to that level. We all probably played in games where you playing against somebody on another team, they don't even speak the language you speak, but we all speak that language. When you see that ball go out there, we know what to do. So that's kind of a little bit about that. And I could go on and on for that, but it's futsal is kind of, we love it. It's great for development, but it's also it's great to get people together, and it's accessible. It's very accessible. You don't need you only need $10,000 to come play with us, So that's kind of what we're doing there.
Yeah. What, just real quick, what's the website again?
It's one word, Play with Soul, and soul is SOL. So playwithsoul.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like I said, it's what our goal is clearly is to keep making an impact in kids' lives in the community, but also on the playing side, on the sporting side, is to we've talked. We've had a lot of support from our local MLS club and our USL club, who really like the give back and the things that we're doing. So we partnered with them on several things. We had a clinic. So in our local area, our MLS club has been doing clinics. And I was looking and said, man, this is nice, but every kid in the clinic was kind of looking the same to me. So I said, we had discussions with them, and we were able to, those were all on grass. We went into our community, which is a community that is having some challenges right now. But we were able to partner with the local grocery store and use their parking lot. Had the pro club come up, set up goals, bring the inflatable, the mascot out, and we just set up mini pitches on the court right there and just played, just to kind of show the kids this game, don't let them fool you. This is not a country club game, because they will fool you in America sometimes and think that this is a country club game, but it's the people's game. So we can play this game, pick up right here in the street. So that's kind of the vibe that we're trying to send. So we just building on that, and we're going to keep it going. And we're looking forward to our second season. And we got some exciting stuff coming up that we're planning with that. So yeah, futsal is kind of where it's at. And ultimately, we want to make it even more competitive, because I want it to be a pathway for kids to maybe who want to get seen by, y'all might want to see him or the USL club, because sometimes we have this thing in our minds that if it's not a whole bunch of money, it's not good. And that kind of bothers me. And I don't know if y'all seen that as well, but that kind of goes back to the WWE. It's almost like trickery, like pay a bunch of money and the development is going to be great. Nah, that's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things.
Yeah. Given what you currently do, what would you say is the most challenging aspect of it?
I would say the most challenging aspect of everything that we're doing is just making sure that we can continue to have the resources to do the programming we want to do to the level we want to do it. And the second one is what I mentioned, is parent education. That's still my number one when people talk to me. Parent education, because when parents get on board, I mean, it just makes everything better when they understand what's going on and why what we're trying to provide, for their kids and the environment that we're trying to set, and why we do the things we do, and not to just chase the WWE stuff and these type of things. So parent education is a big one, and then just making sure that we can continue to get the resources. So we spend a lot of time on the business side now, and just the building relationships with companies who understand they have a social responsibility to our children in these communities, right? Because if we get more kids playing, then we have less other stuff that we don't want, drama going on. That's another thing. So those are the biggest challenges right now for as far as I can see and for what I'm doing.
Yeah. So I wanted to say kudos to what you guys are doing, especially not only just through football, but you're bringing the community together, bringing the police and everybody in the clubs and stuff like that. I think that's major. You know what I mean? Football is always it's not just about the game. It's also about, it's a human thing. You're developing young men and young women. So it's important.
Exactly.
It's a community thing, right? So it's important.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, I was going to have a quick question, because I know you mentioned something about the convention. Probably a lot of people don't know what a convention is. Well, what is it? Where are you right now?
Well, currently I live between Minneapolis and Kansas City because I have a son that's in the sporting academy at the moment. But luckily I was in town in the national convention for the United Soccer Coaches, which is, I would say, I think they say this is the biggest soccer convention in the world in terms of numbers. So this is my first, I went last year, but it was COVID, so it was digital. So kind of wasn't the same thing. This year I got a chance to really experience it. I've been going to sessions from Thursday until I just finished up today. Today I received my urban soccer diploma, which was an excellent course run by the JT Dorsey Foundation. He does a lot of good work in Pennsylvania, similar things to what we're doing on a big scale. And another organization, I think it's football. I can't remember the name. I apologize for that. But they ran a great course, just really teaching us how to connect with kids that aren't from a quote unquote traditional environment. Teaching you when you're running a session, you may be running it at schools and you don't have all these equipment available, and just working on the players that you're working with. Did they eat a meal today? Do they have transportation? These are like issues that sometimes in the pay to play world, they take for granted. These kids get $300 boots, every week. Some of these kids in these settings, whereas these kids, like sometimes there's just a lot of different challenges. So they're kind of giving us tools to build on from that standpoint. And then also just how, setting sessions and proper expectations, how to interact with the kids. It was really good. It really stuck with me. I take a lot, I always like to get these badges, especially ones that, things that mean something to me. So that urban diploma, if you see it, I think you definitely get some value. So I took that. I took a couple futsal courses from Keith Tozer, who he's like one of the top futsal guys in the country. He used to coach the national team. So he ran some good futsal sessions, and those are a little more higher level than some of the kids we're working with currently, because we've kind of we have a competitive piece, but that's mainly in our league. I've stepped out of the traditional, hey, come pay, we're going to run a session. I did that, but now my thing is like, listen, it's cost free. So we get kids from different skill levels. Like, I'll have kids from certain community that can't afford, but like you guys were saying, they have that foundation. So they're ballers. But then I have kids that never played the game. So it's really just, getting tools on how to run these sessions with different skill levels and things like that. So I took a bunch of football courses or futsal courses, and also took, there's another guy, he's one of these soccer guys. I can't think of his name right now, but he wrote a book, The Guide to Teaching. It's a good book, and I can give y'all that offline or something at some point. So I got to check one of his sessions, and just teaching coaches how to be better coaches, how to make sure the kids are getting the psychological, the technical, the cognitive, all this stuff out of a session, and how to make your sessions flow and things like that. So it was good. Met a lot of people. Went to a little, the Black coaches Black coaches had their 25th year celebration. So I got to connect with some of the younger ballers from out in the DC area and all over the country. It's good to see they have a program called the top 30 coaches under 30. So it's a lot of young aspiring coaches coming up. So it was good. A lot of information, a lot of time, but it was worth it.
Nice. Yeah, no, I mean, that's great. It's good, getting together with people who share similar ideas, similar mindset, and really, pushing what I say is pushing the culture forward. Those conventions add value, but even outside of the theoretical or technical thing, is literally the bonding with fellow program administrators, fellow coaches. Like you start throwing out ideas, and then you realize, I want to do this, and I want to do this, and then how can we link up and make something happen? So no, that's good. I was going to ask you, when you brought up your challenge, you mentioned the parent development piece, right? And what you noted that that's outside of pretty much fundraising for the program. Mm-hmm. This is one of your big challenges. What strategies are you implementing to help develop these parents so that they're helping you along the way to create ballers?
Well, that's something that I wish I answer, but it's like trial and error. I'm always probably similar to you guys. When a lot of the players that I started with were 5 and 6. For me, I want them to get the joy that we have out of the game. They're still playing, so I try. I never cut them. It's like once let's say you're not in my program anymore, I still look at you as if I poured into you. I still want the best for your development. So I'm always staying in contact with parents, whether they're, or left or whatever. I always want to be open. Not that I have all the answers, because I don't, but I have a lot of experience, from playing, from coaching, from developing my kids, developing other kids. So I just try to, I may recommend a book. Parents hit me all the time on Twitter. What do you think about this? What about futsal on this? Or what do you think I should go here? What do you think about this club? So I think just giving them my honest feedback and also being clear with them to figure out what do they want out of this experience for their kid, and when they're young, it should be about fun. That's just how I feel, this is my personal philosophy, 13, about like 12 and under and 13, 12 and under. I'm really just focused on, it being fun, being accessible, and giving them the foundations of the game. A young kid, I like to teach things like body shape, the tiny things that I remember I didn't learn. I didn't learn them too late, but I learned them late. Just how to receive the ball, get your body shape right, your hips right, and things like that. So I'm always, recommending books or podcasts or, different things that they can check out. I share that, so you'll have your email list or Team Snap or whatever you use for your team, and I'll just send these things out. I used to do this before matches. I would tell parents, listen, we play on Saturday. These are the things I want you to look for in the match. Because if you don't know and you're a parent, the only thing you judge them by is what's the question you're gonna ask your kid. Did you score and did you win? Those are the top two questions I'm gonna ask you, and that's just all they know. So I just tell them, hey, we worked on building out of the back. I used to do this with my U10s. This is what I want you to look for, or defensively, we worked on, pressure cover balance, look for this. So that way, if we, because how football is, it's cruel. You could play well for 89 minutes and lose 1-0. So the score is not always the indicator of its success. It is once we getting into that competitive mode, but I'm talking younger kids. Mm-hmm. For me, I want parents to know, what are we looking for? And then a lot of them were like, wow, I didn't know how they were going to receive it, but they were really like, thank you. They felt like it was an education, because what we're doing, y'all, this is we're teachers. Us three, we are teachers. We teaching a beautiful game. So if this was school, this is the kind of things people would expect. So I think we just have to keep that in mind. And we're students as well, clearly, but we're teaching parents. So it's like, look, these are the things we're looking for. And even in our sessions, this is what we're working on. This is why we're working on it. And I think it cuts down on a lot of chatter, because parents it's such an emotional thing for them. And I'm one too. I know how it is. You get emotional. I have to walk myself back and get in my coaching hat, because that parent hat, that'll have you ready to, man, what this? So I think it's important for us to communicate on the front end with these parents, and we're not perfect, right? Y'all know we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. I let them know that, but our intentions are pure. We have experience in the game, and we come from the game. So this is the thing about football, y'all. You can tell me if you agree or disagree. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's one way to play football. I don't. You hear everybody now, build out the back. I love building out the back. I love the beautiful game. I love to knock it around. Possession based. That's what's up. But that's not the only way to play the game.
Facts.
You may have to ping a long ball and play direct. Facts. Nothing wrong with that. But know why you're doing whatever you're doing. That's all what I say.
I agree. It's a puzzle, right? Yeah. How you play the game is a puzzle. Everything connects. So yeah.
Yep. And how us three, and y'all probably more on the same page because you're working together. But like even with y'all two, I promise you. You see, there's some pieces of the game y'all see it differently.
Oh, definitely.
Or more, yeah. Okay.
Oh, no, that's a fact.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that to me, right? Like, so even a question we ask a lot of people, and even in some of the podcasts you see is come up. They'll say your favorite coach, for instance, right? And James' favorite coach is Marino. And we have all these coaches on the squad on, DC 11, and they all have their favorite coach, etc. And I've always said, I don't have a favorite, right? Because I'm not dogmatic about learning and about education, for me, they all have certain things. And is to your point about like, there's no one right way, because if there was one right way, everybody would do that one right way and would be successful, right?
Exactly.
So even the concept of development, that a lot of people like to push. If there was one right way, the Barca Academy would have
a Messi every time.
Not just even Messi, but Messi is extreme. But let's just say,
he's special. That's a different thing.
Yeah, let's say Xavi or Iniesta, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even those are special, but they will have 8 of those or 10 of those every season.
That's right.
Every season they will be graduating to the first team. If they don't come to Barcelona, they should all be lining up at Man City, at Real, at PSG, like all the big clubs. And that's just one academy.
Yeah.
Right? And we know that's not the reality. The reality is like, outside of Barca's academy or Madrid or Real Betis, I mean, you go down the line, Atletico, etc. Even just out of Spain, maybe out of all those big academies, maybe I don't know, 8, not even. Let's just say 7 or 8. Let's just say 8 guys come out and they go, and maybe out of that, maybe 2 or 3 actually go to a big club.
That's facts,
right? Yeah. So just that would tell, and we're just talking about Spain.
And with all that resources too,
with every single thing, every you name it.
Mm-hmm.
We're just talking about Spain. Then you go to England, you go to France, you go to it. I mean, it's endless. And so for me, to your point, and so for me, I always think it's funny, like because some people, some coaches or programs or whatever, like are beyond dogmatic with it. Like this is the way. This is the way.
Hey, when you hear that, then you go the other way. You got to run. When people start doing that, go the other way. This is
the way. I'm telling you, this is the only way. I'm like, okay. No. Like for me, if it was the way, it would have been there's no secret sauce. There's a lot of things that come into play, and then there's some luck. There's all these there's all the external things that we don't even really talk about, which one of the things we brought up recently was even with all your talent in the world, if you don't have advocates in your corner, be it you were with certain coaches or certain programs that you stay with and actually and you guys build a relationship, and not even to your point about having the support system at home, like the 2 parents, etc., that's willing to you guys now you're driving to Kansas and coming back, etc., and then you're advocating along the way and providing. If you don't even with the most amazing talent, it's still just gonna
nobody gonna know.
Yeah. And your environment is important too. The environment.
Facts. It's facts. It's like you said earlier, it's a puzzle. It's a puzzle, and nothing's guaranteed. And then we're not even talking about injury. Oh. That's a big piece as well. So it's
that's the important piece.
But when you love it, you just play and let the chips fall where they may.
Indeed. Indeed. The only thing you can control, I saved it with you and my son, etc., and a lot of guys that we work with that say they want to go pro, they want to go to the highest level. What I tell them is focus on the things you can control. There's a lot of things out of your control. The things you can control are the effort that you put in to your skill development.
Absolutely.
Right. The effort in your training, the
diet,
your consumption, right? Mm-hmm. Your consumption in both your food, your mental intake, the environment, you have those are the things you can control. And the other things that are completely outside the way a coach is going to view you, the way you can go to a tryout, you can ball out. You know, you can go to your tryout in the 80s or whatever and kick the furthest.
Kick it far.
You
Get
kick
10
it really
points.
far and still end up on the B team or not
That's
even
fact.
end up on any team at all, right? You can't control any of it. And then, but that's out of your control. But what you can control is how you respond to that, right? So you're like, this doesn't define me. I'm going to go train hard or whatever it is and look for another opportunity.
Yeah. Great advice. That's great advice. That's great advice. And that's all you can do. Like you said, it's more outside of our control than we care to really believe, but that's just life, you know? Yeah. So control those things that you can. And that's a great advice for any young baller listening to this, you know, control what you can, like you said. And the game, people see it differently. And one coach may not see something, or that when you had an off day or whatever in the ID session, but you know, because I remember, you know, and I think coaches should do this. I've had one of my son's coaches, you know, just pull him to the side and say, why did you make that decision there? What did you see? And I try to do this as well. And then my son, who's, you know, he believes in you know, he's only 14, but he watches a lot of football, has been around it, but that's still 14 years. Clearly the coaches had more, but he said this is how he sees it. And the coach, he didn't argue him down. He said, okay. You know, now there's some times when they're going to say, you know, this is that, but I think our game is you know, it's a beautiful game, and it's a player's game. It's not a coach-led game per se. So you have to make those decisions, and it's a lot of information going on. Yes. So I like to, when players can be thinkers. They're not going to always get it right, but listen, even the greats. I mean, rarely. I mean, if you talk about Maradona, I mean, he got it right most of the time. But but there's some times when I'm sure, you know, he probably would have made a different decision if he could have, you know, slowed it down. But that's the beauty of the game. This is not like other games where, and there's no knock on football for any football people listening, but you know, you run a play, then you got time, you come talk about it, then you rest, then you run another play. This is, hey, ain't no timeouts. Futsal is timeouts, but not in football. You know, so that's the beauty of it, though, right? So I'm like you, that dogmatic approach. You know, I try to not to be like that with the game, because that I think is unfair to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, we can, as you can see, we could do this.
Yeah, man. We can go here to the morning.
we could do this for days.
Yeah, man. It's fun though.
Yeah,
you know, I like what y'all doing, man. This is good stuff here, and you know, this is the kind of stuff I wish. I hope that some of our young players, and when I say our, I mean all of our young players that we developing, they really get into the culture game, and you know, like, you know, talking about the players. And you know, I love when my son comes to me and we talk about, who would you rather play for? Would you like to play for Klopp? Would you like to play for Pep? Why not? This and that. That's just the, you know, like that's what it's about, you know. So
because here's the reality. I mean, that's even a great conversation. Like, actually, I'm gonna thanks for giving me that. You know what I mean?
Next episode.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna interview. So one of the things, you know, that I'll also do is prep again. These guys who say they want to go, you know, pro, prepping them for being able to deal with media and articulate their thoughts, right? And so what we're doing is, you know, just interview, like it could be after training. It's just an interview, you know, where. And, you know, and then I push that out via IG, and, you know, they get to see it. And again, it's all of it is like a learning opportunity, right? You can listen to yourself and say, oh, okay, I'm using too many or I don't like the way I stutter here and this and that. I'm constantly moving and I should just be straight, or I'm not articulating my thought, you know, whatever it is. But this is it's an opportunity for you to grow. So anyway. And so this is a great question. Who would you rather, like, you give them two coaches? Who would, because what it also shows is, one, are they being a student of the game? Do they even know who Klopp or Pep is? Mm-hmm. And then, one, they may just know, do they just know them on a surface level, or are they really now watching them and understanding their tactical approach to the game? right?
Yeah.
And how they manage their players. And so then that come into their decision. And then the part of the reason why this is even more important is because if you are really a baller, there's chances that might actually happen, where you might end up playing, you might make a decision. You know, you're getting called by both Man City and Liverpool. Like, who do you go to? Right. Or sometimes you may play for Liverpool first and then end up at Man City. I mean, like we have so many like.
Or worst case scenario, you just playing FIFA and you gonna beat somebody with either team.
Yeah,
you know.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so like just understanding that and processing that, I'm like, oh, this would be interesting, right? Mm-hmm. Who do I play for, club or pep? You're gonna see a whole series, a whole series coming out with that one. No, that's good. That's good.
Dope. Yeah. I mean, it's also
like you
good.
Said, it's all development, though. It's just all development. Like what you just mentioned with the young players, you know, media train, all that stuff is development. It's not just what we're doing on the pitch, you know. It's all of that, especially when you're talking about being a pro. And that's one thing that I will say about some of these academies that are pro academies and even some well-run programs that aren't. It's that training to be a pro, because like you said, in any field, being a professional is more than just showing up on a game day and having a lot of skill, you know? So I think as educators and coaches that, you know, that's our job as well. So, you know, y'all, I like to say, I like the stuff y'all doing. You know, I see y'all got the little interviews. Had a young man on there that he was doing the interview. It was a kind of a funny moment too, but you know, that's the kind of content, you know, I like to see for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the thing for me, and you know, I've spoken to James about this at length, but it's really, I think it's important to tell the full narrative of the game, the program, and these kids as, you know, young footballers and as people that are growing up and that whole process. So sometimes it's just drinking water, right? And I think it's important, like if you're viewing, like if you're somebody who's going to see the screen, it's important to see that, oh, this guy actually drinks water. You know what I mean? Like he hydrate in the importance of hydration. I'm like constantly trying to drive that through, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, and then sometimes you're just gonna see the teammates just hanging out, you know, after practice, they're exhausted or whatever it is. And sometimes you're gonna see them working on their skill move. Sometimes you're gonna see them getting busy. Like the whole thing. Sometimes you can see them just talking about like what we just talked, you know, like an interview, like who would you rather play for? You know, club. And all of that those are pieces in the larger puzzle. Mm-hmm. You know, like it's not just, oh, we had a game today. We scored 2 goals. Oh, we won the tournament. Oh, you know, like, and what I'm saying actually now can be game for all like, you know, this is free game, you know, like free game for all the sport programs, you know, the youth sport programs in the country or around the world. It's important to tell the full narrative of what's going on. Right. That old, you know, the old model where we just post about the tournament or post about, you know, this person won the all metro player. That's the 80s and that's the 90s. You know, like that's not what it is. So free game, you know, go ahead and use it.
Free game. And these are the kind of programs when we talk about parent education. These are the kind of programs I send them to, like yours, where it's what they call it. They say we need to develop the whole player, holistic approach to development. Like you said, not just the highlights. We went to such and such tournament and we won this and that. I mean, you know, we've seen that before,
right?
You know. So no, like I said, I love what y'all doing, man. I'm gonna be even following even more. You know, so keep up that good work, and don't be surprised if I send some ballers that way.
Definitely. The more the better, man. The more the better, you know, like we'll definitely, especially, you know, when this COVID thing you know, cease a little bit and the weather gets better, especially in the summertime, you know, we may see, you know, don't be surprised.
Man, I posted things sound cool, man.
Yeah. Like yes, like literally, I mean, like it's crazy because like the past couple of days I've been even having conversations with my son and even internally as a group, I was like, it would be crazy if we develop a whole, because I've been studying this a couple of these Brazilian communities, and they have these futsal stadiums, man. But it's outdoor. It's not even the what people see, the indoor, but these ones are outdoor, and they just have it's so crazy. The atmosphere.
I've seen it. They do one move, they go crazy. Oh, yeah, I mean, I love it.
I was talking to my son about. I was like, you can't, if you experience that as a young player or even an older player, you're a footballer for life. Because there's no way you're gonna have that experience and just say, oh, I'm not into this game anymore.
It's a life changer, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, that's culture though. Culture drives this. Culture.
Yeah. Culture. And so, trying to figure out a way we can bring that here, man, because it's definitely, it will be a game changer.
Figure it out. Yeah, let's figure it out. No, like I said, we definitely should keep the ideas going, think outside the box, collaborate. Let's use this social media for what for good.
Yes. Speaking of which, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, you can check us out at tcsoulfutsal.com. That's our program, our grassroots futsal program. And also, like I stated before, playwithsoul.com is our Serve the Play Summer Futsal League. And you can reach out to me there, or Coach Mario Wimberly at Gmail if you got some personal. But those are all three ways to get in contact with me. I'm not hard to find. I'm out here just trying to learn and teach. So
yeah. What's your IG handle?
IG is at TC Soul Futsal. And that's on all socials. That's on Twitter, Facebook. We're on Facebook as well, and Instagram. And I do most of my thoughts on football and futsal and development are on Twitter, and it's at First Touch Dev, short for development. FIRST Touch DEV. Okay. Or you can go to Google and put in Coach Mario Wimberly, and it'll come up as well. My Twitter.
Nice. Yes. It's been a pleasure. And we will definitely continue the conversation. Want to thank you. Yeah. I mean, also want to, just say thanks for those kids and families that you're serving. I mean, I'm watching from afar, and what I see, part of it actually was I saw what was going on, and I Google, to see newspaper reports, about what's going on in the city, and your activities and the organization's activities, and I was like, definitely have to bring him on, give him his flowers, tell him thanks for the great work that you're putting in. Yeah.
Keep it
thanks
going,
a lot,
man. I appreciate it. And like I said, it's plenty, including y'all. Y'all doing great work. And it takes all of us, because we got a big country and we got a lot of kids. Yeah. And we have a lot of talent here, as y'all know. So it's up to us to bring it out with this program and just being positive role models to them. So, like I said, I love the platform. I thank y'all for having me on, and definitely want to come back on here. Next time I'm gonna bring my son on here. He's the real knowledgeable. I want to hear his top footballers. Nice. There's gonna be a lot of new school dudes though.
No, and we can talk that talk, and I'll probably bring my son. I'll just have him join as well. They'll go at it.
Yeah. No, that's for sure.
That'll be fun. That's actually a whole nother episode. Nother episode where we could just have the father and sons, or the parent and sons collab and do have 3 or 4 combos. That would be. I mean, that's an amazing. It's something we even on IG that we push a lot as well. The dads or the parents and their sons, or siblings. It's something every time I see it, I immediately connect. when I see two brothers or a brother and a sister or two sisters or whatever. So yeah, man, that's actually a great idea as well. So
yeah, man.
definitely.
But yeah, man. Like I said, I appreciate it. Y'all keep up the good work, man. I'm watching and I'm sharing. So y'all keep it up, man. And we look forward to big time ballers coming from y'all for y'all program.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Have a good night, and we shall continue the conversation.